So in 5 years, you guys went from getting paid donuts to clean windows to making millions of dollars.
Dude, employees didn't hire him, bro. Yeah. So it's like, bro, did you know you didn't need a degree to start a business? Trial and error, just learning by doing.
We're going to put you on some game here.
Welcome to the Rebolt Rundown, the #1 podcast for home service business owners. I'm your host, Arwin, and today we're with Johnny and Sergio, the founders of Orange Window Cleaning, and now owners of Home Service Academy. From getting paid in donuts to a 7-figure sale, they've learned what it takes to survive the grind and come out on top. This episode is a masterclass in hustle and grit, filled with actionable lessons that will show you how to turn a simple idea into a 7-figure success story. Let's get into it. And we are live with the Rebolt Rundown, the #1 podcast in the world for home service business owners. I am here with Johnny and Sergio, my great friends, the former owners of Orange Window Cleaning, now Home Service Academy. Orange Window Cleaning is out here in Orange County, California. You guys grew that thing up to now 7 figures in revenue, and know it's under different management. Very successful business. You guys met when you were 19 years old, built, scaled everything from the bottom up. Very impressive, fellas. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited for this conversation.
We're excited to be here, man. Yeah.
Awesome, fellas. All right. So, this podcast we've kind of talked about in advance is like, it's centered around the home service business owner. We want to show them how to make success stories like yourself. The only way to do that is to start from the very beginning. So let's talk about the inception story. Tell me about like the first time you met Sergio. What was your guy or Sergio and then Johnny? What was your impression? Like, walk me through that. And then let's go from there.
Yeah, we were, I don't know how deep you want us to go on this, because like there's a lot of lore between the two of us. So like it depends how deep you want us to go. But we met in the 7th grade, and we ended up having every class together. In the middle school we went to, we had 8 periods. So every single period, all 8, we had them together. And he was the only dude that was in every single one of my classes. And we also happened to be the 2 shortest guys in the classes. And we had the same Hurley jacket from Costco. So we just hit it off, became natural friends, and we kept in touch all throughout middle school and became best friends through high school and kept in touch after college. And it ended up being like, I went to a different college. He went to Cal Poly Pomona, and we skipped class one day. We went to the beach, and we were like, dude, what do you want to do? Talking about like goals and future and stuff like that. We were 18 at the time. And I wanted to be a cop growing up.
Okay.
And so the reason I even moved to Orange County was to be a cop, actually, and join like the Explorers program and go through the whole pipeline and funnel up and eventually become a law enforcement officer. And then when I joined and became an Explorer, which is like the beginning stages of the pipeline, they started yelling at me. And then I was like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. So I quit like 2 weeks in, and I was like, my mom was heated because she sold her house to move to Orange County.
So you were a cop.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So she's pissed. She's like, you got to get a job then. Yeah. And so I got a job as a lifeguard, and I was at water park lifeguard too, walking the lazy river, dude. Just terrible.
Oh my.
And so I did that for the summer, and towards the end of the summer we were at the beach, and I'm like, dude, I found out that you didn't need a degree to start a business. Yeah. So I was like, bro, did you know you didn't need a degree to start a business? And apparently I think you thought the same thing, right?
I never thought about business.
Yeah.
Like, never crossed my mind.
Yeah. Both of us come from a background of like, nobody was loaded. Nobody started a business. Yeah. Everybody was just kind of getting by in our families. And so I have with this newfound information, I tell him, and he's like, yeah, dude, well, I'm going to school for civil engineering. So like, I don't really care about business. I'm just like going to go to college. And then after I graduate, I'll go get the civil engineering.
Yeah. I was lined up to make like $70K a year. Yeah. And like, to me at the time, that felt like being rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
damn, that's crazy.
It sounded like the pathway out.
So you and when was the moment when you guys like kind of finally came together and you were like, okay, like you obviously you thought that you needed a degree to start a business, or you didn't, and then you did. When was the moment you guys finally came together and you're like, let's do a business? But then also, why did you guys end up picking window cleaning? Because I think a lot of people that are going to listen to this is folks that are maybe in like other professions, or like maybe they just come out of college and they didn't end up going to college or whatever, and they're trying to figure out how to start these things. So, when was that moment, and then why window cleaning?
Yeah, well, about a week after that conversation, he was like, yeah, I just want to do civil. I'm like, okay, whatever. I guess you saw a Gary Vee video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like I started listening to Gary Vee podcast on the way to school.
Yeah.
And just got me fired up. I'm like, I want to start a business. It sounds cool. And like I was also going through a time where I was trying to get a job. I was in college and like, dude, I was applying for freaking Arby's.
Dude, Arby's didn't hire him, bro.
So what they hired, dude, it just, I don't know. So I was like, man, screw getting a job. Like I'd rather just like make our own money, like it just made sense. So
Nice.
yeah, like, and then I was at a Target. Some like homeless guy asked me, "Hey, can I clean your windows?" And so I was like on my car. And so I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And then like I shoot him like a 10 or something.
Yeah.
And then told John, I'm like, "Dude, we could just like go to a gas station and clean people's windows, like our windows, like make $100, $200 at a time." Like that's how we thought.
So hold on, that's the inception story. Is
I
a homeless guy at Target wash your window, you paid him money for it, and then you went back to Johnny. You said, "Hey, we can wash windows and make money."
Yeah, like just like quick money. That's just how I was thinking. Right?
Yeah.
And then Johnny said, "No, it's a stupid idea." But then he looked it up.
Well, I'm like, dude, what are we like? We go stand at the gas station, dude. Like, come on, like we're not gonna make no money.
Oh yeah. But then he looks it up, and then like residential window cleaning is a thing, like cleaning people's house windows. And again, we come from a place where people don't pay for window cleaning. You know what I mean? Like no one has money like that.
Yeah.
So
Wait, geography wise, where was this at?
City of Orange.
Oh, City of Orange.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, where we come from is like Hesperia, California.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that's where people don't have money. But in Orange County, plenty of people have money.
Yeah.
So it made sense.
Yeah, we couldn't fathom the fact that people were paying that much money for window cleaning.
That's crazy.
We were like, what the hell?
I remember the first time telling my dad, like, "Oh, we're charging this person $100," and then he's like, "Dude, no one would pay that much for window cleaning."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and then later, our minimum is $250.
You guys looked up.
$2.99.
You looked into it. But isn't that just like a perfect example of the American dream? It's like and the oxymoron that it is of like, wow, this is the inception story of how we thought that we can make money and that we didn't think we could make money through it, and then we ended up doing it, and you guys grew it to 6 figures in revenue. Like that's crazy.
Well, right before that, let me add, right before that, we didn't land on window cleaning first. The first idea we landed on was actually a t-shirt company.
Okay.
Called Bent Co. We were trying to go for like the streetwear vibe, like let's keep like the real simple, like a 4-letter word, create like a meaning behind it. And so then we put up a 99 designs competition, and we spent $300 on our first logo. And that was like most of the money we had. So we get this logo and we're like, all right, cool. Like, let's make some shirts.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait, we kind of need some like more designs than just this logo.
Yeah.
So Sergio was drawing little like different designs with the logo that we had.
Yeah.
On his notebook.
Yeah.
And then our problem was like he was looking at the notebook and he was like, dude, I don't know how to take it from the paper onto the screen. Then so we scrapped the freaking the t-shirt idea.
Nothing about fashion.
But how cool is that, right? Like, I think what happens in the space a lot is like home service guys will end up doing like one thing, and they'll fail at it, they'll do whatever, and then they'll end up in something, and then they'll kind of hit gold, and then they hit it and run, right? And I think it takes that when you're building these sort of businesses of like trial and error, and you simply just like hypothesis test over time, and you're like, okay, my shirt company didn't work. We couldn't figure out how to get the logo onto the computer. Let's go ahead and like try something else, right? That's a very cool story. Now tell me about maybe like the earliest days. So like you went from the shirts, right? And figuring that out to when did you guys do your first window clean? How did that happen? Also, what did you guys make on that job? Your very first job?
Yeah, so we ordered all of our equipment off Amazon. It was $150 total startup cost between the white polos we got from Walmart.
Wait, real quick. $150 to start your window clean.
Yeah, that's all we started with.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And so we ordered the stuff off Amazon, came in, we were like testing it all out. And believe it or not, dude, there's some skill. There's like a lot of skill that goes into cleaning. And so we're trying to figure out how to clean the window. We're practicing on my mom's sliding glass door because we were both living with my mom at the time. And so we're like, okay, we're like kind of all right at this. We still didn't really know what we were doing, but we're like, let's just go try to make some money. So we go across the street to the corner store. Like there's 3 corner stores. There's a liquor store, there's like this little deli, and then a donut shop. We go to the donut shop and we're like, hey, can we clean your windows? And they're like, yeah, and if we like it and it's a good job, then we'll pay you. So it was like contingent on if we did a good job. So we're like, all right, yeah, it's basically a yes. So let's do it.
Yeah.
So we clean. It was like two big glass windows. That was it. We clean it, and it takes like an hour. And we get done, and we're like, all right, what do you think? They're like, oh yeah, good job, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. So like, how much do you think that's worth? And they're like, well, how about a free box of donuts? And we're like, yeah, we'll take it. And so our first job, actually, we got paid in donuts, and so it was a dozen donuts. We got like some sandwiches and stuff. And so we went back. We were all excited. But obviously, donuts aren't going to pay the bills. So we're like, we got to make some real money.
Yeah.
So we went down to the Orange Circle, if you've ever been.
Yeah.
And there was this one street, and it was a dry cleaner, auto shop, Green Auto Repair. I'll never forget. Shout out Andy Green. Omega Burger, and then a Ford Auto Parts store, like an old classic auto parts store. And so we hit the dry cleaner first. She haggles us down from like $20 down to $12. Takes us an hour and a half. We make like $3.50 a piece.
Wait, hour from what price to what price?
20 to 12.
Oh my gosh.
Haggled us down. We were pissed. And so what we got paid, like $12. Boom, first job. We're pissed. We're like, it doesn't really feel that good. We're like, all right, someone said yes. We go next door to Andy Green's shop, the auto repair, and this place is just busted up, dude. Like, he does not need his windows cleaned. We're like, screw it, let's pitch him anyway.
Yeah.
We go in, and me and Sergio were like deliberating between like, well, should we charge him? We're like, let's say $40. We'll say $40. And we were just shitting bricks, dude. We're going, $40 is so much. And so we go in, and we're like, we could do it for 40. He's like, all right, done. And we were like, oh shit. $40, bro. Yeah. So we clean the windows, we get paid. Boom, we're at $52 on the day. We go.
Wait. And donuts.
This is the next day.
Okay. Yes, they all right.
So
make sure we didn't forget about the
$52 on the day.
Okay.
We go next door to a Mega Burger.
Yeah.
The owner's name's Paul. And we find him, we pitch him. He's like, yeah, let's do monthly. And we got him for $60 a month. And so now we're at clean his windows. We're at what is that? 112, something like that, 112.
Yeah.
Then we go next door to the auto parts store, and if you've ever seen this place, it's still there.
Yeah.
It's like probably 40 large, really big glass panes.
Yeah.
Pitch them, and we ended up upping that price over time. Like, that became our account to like $300 or $400, but we did it for $80, and it took us like so long, but we ended up getting $80. So all in all, we made almost $200 our first day out pitching.
Wow.
And what's really cool about that story is like our pitch was trash.
Yeah.
Like, we were just like, these people were saying yes because we were young, and like they're like, well, these guys are trying to like do something, so like there's almost like a pity close.
Yeah.
But like still, like especially if you're young watching this, like leverage that.
Exactly.
People love to support young people trying to like build their dream, do their own thing, right?
Yeah.
But what's cool about that story is the 2 weeks after that, we didn't land a single job.
Yeah.
Like, we were pitching our ass off, dude. Just could not land a job.
Really?
And so we talk about this, like, well, if I wonder what would happen if we didn't have that first day of just like all these like positive feedback loops.
Yeah.
Because we thought about quitting after that. We're right, dude, we can't even land a freaking job. Right. But we knew what it was like to close one and close a string of accounts and make money. So like that kind of kept us going.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting? So you guys went from donuts one day to then the next day actually like making money from it. But I think always what it takes early on is a certain level of sacrifice that a lot of folks don't understand. You have to be able to just like do things that, do things that don't scale. Yeah, you guys know I say that a lot. But do things that really like, you're not going to make money on early on. It's about getting the experience, but also like in growing businesses more generally, there are things early on that you have to do that nobody else is willing to do, right? And because you can take that sort of leap of faith enables you to obviously get to the situation to where you guys are at today, right? Running the Home Service Academy and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And we were in a position too where like we didn't have any skills, man. Like, I had my first job. This is basically his first job.
Yeah.
And we're still like freshmen in college. We have zero experience on anything. We don't know sales. We don't know how to market. We don't know how to hire. We don't know how to build systems or leverage software at this time. And we're not buying any courses because nobody's really doing window cleaning courses. So the best we could get was like free content on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so, it's just trial and error, just learning by doing everything from sales, marketing, hiring, all the way up through the whole process.
Yeah. Wow, that is incredible, man. Very cool. So you guys had a first day of success that kind of gave you like life and hope and that there's something here. Then you went on a 2-week dry streak, right, at the very beginning. Then how did you guys kind of like after that point get more business, right? After like a 2-week dry streak and you're like, all right, well, we gotta figure this thing out. Were you guys like, all right, we should quit? Or like where were you guys at?
Yeah, there's a few of those conversations. You want to talk about this a little bit?
Well, what part are you thinking about? 'Cause I think we just kept doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, we just kept kind of doing the same thing
Door
for a
to
while,
door.
door to door. But then it got to a point, man, where it was just like we started to have like a recurring book of business.
Yeah.
But there was times where like we would have like one $20 account,
Yeah.
you know? So we were like, okay, we're gonna figure out how to get into residential. And I remember like a big catalyst in our journey was when we had one $20 account, and it was this tailor in Orange, named Anthony.
Yeah.
Shout out Anthony. Dude, I remember all these guys, dude. They all freaking just like
They give you opportunity.
yeah, they give opportunity, man. And so like we would go and clean this guy's windows, every month, and he would always pay. And he was, this real guy was a character, and we're cleaning his windows. And we would do these mirrors on the inside. He had like a bunch of mirrors, so like when he puts the suits on someone or whatever, they can look at it. And so we're cleaning the mirrors, and I just remember like talking to Sergio, being like, "Bro, like we could make so much more money if we just got jobs. Like we should just probably like throw in the towel, man. Like we were just depressed, dude."
Yeah.
And we're like,
specific day we didn't want to go.
yeah, we weren't even gonna go, dude. But let's just not show up.
But I feel like going today.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We were just sitting there, just wallowing, dude.
Yeah.
And so we're like, all right, let's just show up and do it anyways. We
Yeah.
freaking muscle the get the power to go out and do it, whatever. But what was cool, or what was crazy actually, was this older gentleman walked in, named Pat Mahoney. Big shout out to Pat Mahoney, dude. He walks in, dude. Guy's like 6'5". He's looks probably in his 60s at the time, maybe 70s. And he's like, "Hey, do you guys clean windows for houses?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course." And we hadn't really done residential too much. Or kind of just getting those jobs like here and there by referrals or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, my window cleaner just died. And I have a mansion in Anaheim Hills. And I also have 3 other ones that my kids all live in that all need the windows cleaned."
Oh my gosh.
And we're like, "Yeah, dude, we could do it." And he starts showing us pictures. He pulls up a portrait on his phone. He's like, "Yeah, look at this. This is my wife." And it's a freaking painted portrait of his naked wife. And he's like,
Gosh.
I'm like, "Dude, what do you do?" And he's like, "I trim trees." And I'm like, "Dude, for real, what do you do?" He's like, I know I trim trees. I'm serious. I own the 2nd largest tree trimming company in the United States. And the dude does, he's like, "I do $500,000 a day in sales."
Oh my goodness.
And he's got all the contracts for all the tree trimming across Orange County. He's got some in Arizona, all the way up to Northern California.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening was we went out, quoted his job, and then we did his house, and we did 3 more of his houses that are all on the same street.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting that on a quarterly, 5K a quarter. So it would take us a week. We'd make $5,000. He'd pay us cash. Dude, we felt like we were rich. And
Wow.
and dude, we would be like, I remember I was dating this chick at the time, and every quarter we would do that account, and we would just split we thought we were selected. We were like, let's not put this in the account. Let's just for ourselves. So we'd have it in our wallet, dude. And I'd come over to her house at night. She's living with her mom, and I remember like putting my wallet on the table, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're rich." But he said so much cash in my freaking wallet. It felt so good. But
Wow.
yeah, it was a cool journey because we were about to quit, and like
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like just
Things
because
happened.
we decided, like even though we didn't feel like doing it,
Yeah.
we showed up anyways.
Yep.
It was a $20 account, literally made no difference.
Exactly.
Look what happened, turned into $20K a year.
Exactly.
Client relationship.
Earliest day was this door to door, and you guys were just making it happen pretty much. And I think that's a big thing that home service business owners, we tell them all the time is like, if you are early on, you have to do the things that most people won't do to get to these outcomes that most people won't get to. And you guys are living evidence of that, right? If you didn't show up on that day, you simply wouldn't have gotten that job. What about like so you're just like getting these jobs, and who's doing the jobs? You guys are
we are
doing everything.
going out, everything from the equipment to, well, let's start at the quoting to like the equipment to the cleaning. Like there's nobody else involved here.
Arwin, I want to emphasize here, we didn't know anything about business. And so we'd get the jobs, we'd go out there, we'd quote it, we'd do it. And we're doing all of this in between college. So like if it's during the school year, we're doing this on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, in the evenings if we can.
Yeah.
Not really evenings, but yeah. And then during the summer, it's like every single day. Like I remember feeling like there was no Monday or Saturday. Like it was just every day
Yeah.
doing jobs.
Yeah.
And so we did that for like the first 2 years at least. Like just us, no employees, nothing.
Wow. The first 2 years was just you guys grinding out jobs, finding when you
Out of his RAV4. We didn't have a Lord truck. It was his freaking blue RAV4. We just like freaking throw everything in there, piling it in.
Yeah.
It started to smell like they're on pals, bro. Yeah.
So the earliest day was all word of mouth. So you guys were just going out and getting jobs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
At what point in the business did you guys say to yourselves, okay, we need to we're getting to a point in a stage. We got to go hire some folks, maybe introduce some software into the business. What was that point in time that you guys felt like you needed to do it? And then what did you enact to actually make that happen?
Well, first we needed to reliably get customers in residential because door to door with the storefronts wasn't paying the bills. And so we needed a reliable way to get customers. And so we were trying to figure that out. Like, how do we break into residential essentially was the problem we were trying to solve. And so what we ended up doing.
Can you, real quick, why is residential so great versus kind of like the storefronts?
Dude, residential is one of my favorite markets. And so if like you compare all the markets, right, you've got, I guess, storefronts, residential, like true commercial, where you're like, your 3-4 story buildings, and then construction cleanups. Yeah.
Okay.
I like residential the best because it's cookie cutter. So if you know how to do a 2-story house, well, how many 2-story houses are in Orange County? The metric ton, right? Yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
And so it's cookie cutter. It's easy to build a system around. Not only that, but you have a lot more pricing power in residential as opposed to a lot of the other markets, because what I'm willing to pay for my house that has 20 windows, let's say, is much different than what he's willing to pay for the same exact house and what you're willing to pay for the same exact house. So you can charge at the higher end of the market in residential, whereas, say, commercial, you're mostly competing on price.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And then also the
top of that,
the repeatable and scalability of being in residential, like knowing like, all right, generally there's so many panes are on a home and there's a ton of those. Whereas like if you walk up to a commercial building, two buildings might be completely different of each other.
Right. And each building presents its own different challenge with like, where's the water source at? And not to get too technical.
Yeah.
Residential, it's like, okay, there's a water faucet on every house. Like, the screens are going to be taken out a certain way.
Yeah.
It's easy to build a system around. It's easy to train.
Okay.
And most importantly, you get paid same day. So right after you get done with that job, you're getting a check, you're getting a card payment, like you're getting paid right then and there, as opposed to, say, commercial, where you might have to wait on like a net 15, net 30 terms and front labor or front your time. And then get paid, 2 weeks to a month later.
Yep.
So it creates really good cash flow. You're able to stack that business bank account really quickly and then go into more like sticky markets like commercial, where, you land like we were talking before this. We had a university we serviced where it was now $70K a year account for us. Right.
Yeah. So laying the foundation with residential, it's recurring jobs, you can scale it. And then from there, after you've kind of established that book of business, maybe it makes sense to go after these larger kind of commercial contracts.
Right. Yeah.
So you guys felt like you needed to get more residential jobs early on.
Yeah. Yeah. And how we did that was like, okay, we didn't know how to market, but my thought process was, I was like, okay, Sergio, bro, who probably could send us a lot of work is house cleaning companies, because they carry insurance for house cleaning. But we started looking at their websites and none of them offered window cleaning. And if they did, it was like maybe interior touch-up cleaning, but like not true window cleaning where, you've got your equipment and you get on ladder and stuff like that. So I had the bright idea, like, let me call the top companies on Yelp and say, hey, we own this window cleaning business. We'll give you 15 to 20% of any job you refer us, because you probably get people who ask for window cleaning and you're not making money on those customers. So how about you make some money on those customers, send them to us, we'll service them and give you a kickback. The first 2 companies we called, the top 2, were like, yeah, we're down, let's do it. And we're like, bet. And we just started getting a ton of work from both of these companies, just sending us referrals. And we started getting more and more residential that way.
Yeah.
And then after that, one of the companies, we sat down and met with the owners at like a Starbucks, and they're like, you need to get on Yelp. We get so much work off of Yelp.
Interesting.
Which is counterintuitive in advice, because everybody on the internet, if you go on to like Reddit or
hate it,
they hate it. They talk so much crap on Yelp, and we're like, okay, well, let's give it a shot. Make a Yelp account. and we start asking people for reviews. And so as we're in these homes cleaning these windows, we're one of us was always inside, one of us was outside.
Yeah.
And we made it a point, whoever was inside was like, if you were, say, the homeowner, I'm like, hey, Arwin, man, what do you do? As I'm cleaning the windows.
Yeah.
Oh, and usually if someone's paying for window cleaning, they've got, discretionary income to be able to afford that. And so they're usually making some good money.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was about like 80% of the people we were cleaning windows were business owners. Like, oh, I own a business. I sold a business. We're like, okay, well, I'm noticing a pattern here. But by me being inquisitive or Sergio being inquisitive and asking them about themselves, when it got time to finish up the job, I would say, hey, would you mind leaving us a review? And we would always get them to leave a review. And so we started to like go crazy on Yelp and build this really, really good reputation.
Yeah.
And that started to get us ranking higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
And so then we were getting jobs organically from Yelp, but then we got a call from our account manager and was like, hey, you should spend some money on Yelp. And we're like kind of hesitant. We're like, whatever, let's start with like a little bit.
Yeah.
And the leads just started pouring in, dude. And I'm just speed deleting. Like I was in charge of responding. And so I have like a copy and paste template.
Yeah.
So as soon as I'd see a Yelp lead come in, I'd immediately, within less than a minute, copy and paste, boom, send.
Yeah.
And we were just booking job after job after job to the point where there's months where we're getting 20-1 return on ad spend on Yelp.
God. What year was this?
This was 2020.
Okay, that's so.
It started in 2019. COVID hit in 2020, so we took a pause for a little bit.
Yeah.
Turned it back on, and then really started cranking the spend up through 2020 and onward.
It's just so interesting because we talk at Rebolt. We talk with like thousands of owners, and all of them generally now have a pretty poor experience with Yelp. Right? The most of them tell me, "Hey, I'm spending money here. I'm getting like absolutely cooked on the spend here, and like I'm trying to cancel ASAP." So it's so interesting that paradigms are different, but the same is true for LSA, right? Like previously LSA was like you can turn it on and all of a sudden you're getting leads. Now it's like hyper competitive. You're paying a bunch per lead, right? I mean, you guys experience that now and how.
Well, it just depends on the market. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I always tell people you have to know the game you're playing. Because my brother-in-law, he he recently got on Yelp, so he's doing like mobile detailing, and it's crushing it for him.
Yeah.
Right. And so the thing is, he knows the game he's playing.
Yeah.
And we did too.
Yeah.
You have to get a lot of reviews, and your sales process has to be speed to lead.
Yep.
So if you're on Yelp and you have like 8 reviews and you're not making a ton of money, like that's why.
Yep.
Like
yep.
the people on Yelp are looking for the best reputation companies. So there's always gonna be people making money on these platforms, but you gotta have the reviews, and then you have to have a good sales process.
Yeah.
And we're like, Johnny, dude, there was times where we'd be doing a job together, and like the whole time he's just in the truck on a call, on calls, because like he's getting leads, and so like that was a priority over him cleaning the windows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I mean, like, look, reviews and speed to lead, and we actually preach this as well to our clients. Is like, hey, you can't expect things to happen without putting in the work, and one of the pieces of putting in the work is getting reviews, specifically on your Google business profile, but also in your guys' case, Yelp. But then also when leads come in, you have to be the first person on top of that lead, right? Because if you're a home service business owner and you don't pick up that call that comes in for that person at home that needs service, that person is going to scroll to the next link on Google, click that site and call them. They're going to pick up and win the job.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to highlight you guys talked about was the kind of partnership aspect with the window cleaning, right? You guys thought like that is out of the box, right? I don't think it's like widely practiced where like window cleaning businesses partner with cleaning businesses to then get that sort of thing. And it sounds like that was almost like a catapult for more residential jobs, which then sounded like it fed into actually like more business jobs too, like commercial, right? Because you were going into these residential homes. And I want to highlight that as like a very cool and unique tactic that I think that a lot of home service business owners, they have to think out of the box, because if everybody is doing the same thing, you're just going to be put into the rest of the crowd. Right.
Yeah.
Versus like you guys. So I'm definitely applaud you guys for that.
John is he's a marketing connoisseur.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Dude, partnerships is such an underrated acquisition channel in home service. Nobody does it. But it's like, dude, if you've got say HVAC company, I mean, well, there's a bajillion niches within home service. Your electricians, your roofers, drywall guys, your general contractors, window cleaners, carpet cleaners. I keep going.
Yeah.
they're all in front of your ideal customer every single day.
Yeah.
So why would you not turn them into almost like affiliates?
Yep.
Right. And at least build relationships with these people and turn it into like a, hey, you scratch their back, they'll scratch yours.
Yes, exactly. It's so interesting now, like also backing up, like looking at the evolution. You guys went from like word of mouth, door to door to partnerships to now you guys have the Yelp page, you're like getting reviews. This is the exact trajectory that we typically see the most successful home service business owners go through, right? They start with word of mouth, they put in the work, they do these things that don't scale. And then all of a sudden they start getting reviews and they establish your digital presence. And then what happens is like, I think like a lot of the times, like you get to this point to where like all of a sudden you start like, you outpace the mind that you outpace the thought that you had in your mind of where this business could possibly go. I'm curious, like, okay, so, like, let's put like revenue metrics on it. Like, so what were the basic needs that you guys had at, let's say, like $100,000 of revenue? And then when it got to, let's say, like $500,000 in revenue, how did that change? What was that like process like? I'm sure at 100K, it's just like still you guys kind of figuring, things out. But then 500,000, that's a lot, right? Like you have to kind of build like systems and processes into that. Um, what did you need at 100K? And then how did that change at like, let's say 500K, just as an example?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Great question.
It was kind of quick. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the biggest change is people. Having to manage people, having to hire people. Again, didn't have this skill. And I remember the first time we ever like threw up an Indeed post and like hired someone is just like the funniest experience because like one, I mean, if you've ever hired on Indeed, like you'll get 100 applications and like 80% of them don't even reply, and then the 20 that do, maybe only 5 are good.
Yeah.
So then you're scheduling a bunch of interviews, and like one guy picks up the phone, and like we just hire him because he's the only guy we got a hold of.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good hire. Doesn't turn out great, but yeah, dude. I mean, I feel like having to learn how to hire people, manage people, and the emotions and things that go into that. I think that was the biggest change, and it was like a huge learning experience for us.
So
Made
the
a little
biggest difference,
mistakes.
and truly home services, this is a people business, right?
Mhm.
Like, and it's very important the sort of people that you guys bring in. And I'd love for you guys actually to talk about that a little bit because your technicians that you guys had, and so it sounds like the difference between 100 and 500 was really like the people, and I'm sure there was software, but like, what were you looking for in kind of those technicians? Because those folks are entering into somebody's home and they represent your business, right? So maybe talk me through like, what were you looking for in those people? And how would you set like guiding principles? Like, and I'm sure this is even for your guys' self, right? Like there are certain things that you would do and not do in people's homes. Maybe talk through some of that.
Well, what was cool was when we got to our first 2019, 2020 actually was our first $200,000 year.
Wow.
And the year before that, we did $42,000 in total revenue. And a big help for us was in between 2019 and 2020, somebody on LinkedIn hit me up from EO Orange County. Are you familiar with EO?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs organization. Yeah. So it's basically just like a massive network of entrepreneurs, and you get together and you talk about your problems in your business and in a group of like 4 or 5 other people, right?
Yeah.
And but we had been consuming a ton of business content, like for the first couple of years in business, like I didn't even listen to music. It was just nothing but business podcasts. And especially during interviews when people were talking about how they sold their business, a lot of them kept mentioning EO. And so when this guy hit me up on EO or from EO on LinkedIn, he was like, hey, we're running a student competition for people who are in college and also own a business. And it looks like you fit the bill based on your LinkedIn profile. So why don't you come put together a speech? And if you win like $2,000. And so I told Sergio, we're like, hell yeah, dude, let's do it. Let's speak on stage, like talk about our business, maybe win a couple grand, like, and to us at the time, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of money to us. And so we put together our slide deck, we compete, and we're the only like traditional, like real small business. And we're also the only business that that was competing, that was actually making money. All these other ones were just ideas. Like these, like I remember one of the companies we're competing with was like earbuds that you could split down the middle and they would turn into 2 pairs of earbuds so you could listen to the same music at the same time. And we were just like, what are these businesses, And so like we go up.
Digital business card, like
Yeah,
that was one that won actually.
yeah, digital
A
business.
digital business card.
Yeah. Anyways, long story short, dude, we compete, we crush it, and we're like, oh, there's no way we don't win this shit, dude.
Yeah.
And we get second place, and we're like, dude, I'm still pissed about that to this day because like we're the only ones making money. I thought we had the best talk, whatever.
Yeah.
And they give the 2K prize to this like digital business card business. We're like, all right, whatever. But they're like, there is another company that we want to give something to that I think they'd actually get a lot more value out of. What they ended up giving us was a scholarship to EO Accelerator. And accelerators for companies. In order to join EO, you have to be an owner of a company that does $1 million or more of revenue. Okay. But under that, they have their accelerator, which they teach you, core principles and a lot of just basic things on entrepreneurship to help you get to $1 million, so you eventually join EO.
Yeah.
So we get a free scholarship for accelerator. Thing about that is you got to be at $250 a year to be in it. But they waived it. They're like, we'll let you in. We'll give you a free ride and just like learn.
Yeah.
And so for that whole next year, we started going to like the learning days and meeting other entrepreneurs. And at the time, we're talking to people who were doing like $500K a year, $800K a year, and we're like looking at them like, holy shit, these guys are killing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was cool because we got to see like people like a little bit ahead of us, like one step ahead of us.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like we're on the right track. We can absolutely, if they could do it, we could do it. And we're learning all this stuff. But two, as we started learning more things, we started implementing them. And so then the next year we ended up doing 200K. But part of that curriculum was core values and how to set an infrastructure in the business, or I guess an operating system would be a better word, inside the business for communication and how you hire people, those kinds of things. But the biggest thing that like ties everything together was the core values. And one of our core values is always Chick-fil-A level of service. Or we wanted to build the Chick-fil-A of window cleaning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so still to this day, that's one of our core values, Chick-fil-A level of service. But that was where that was born. And so that is one thing I would highly recommend anybody watching this. Like if you're just new to hiring or you're like struggling with the hiring process, like tie like your core values or the kind of like North Star that guides everything. It's who you hire, who you decide to work with, and how you make decisions within the company.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was one big thing, was like we would just look for like, hey, Chick-fil-A level of service. How are you gonna show up? You're gonna do a good job and be a nice person and go above and beyond for the customer.
Yeah.
All that to answer your question basically is
that
if you can tie like some questions to your core values, and like really look for those things. And even if you don't have core values, like you do have core values, you just have to figure out what those are.
Right.
Because there's companies who are doing like 5 million, 10 million, and there's like, we don't have core values.
And it's really as simple as just saying like, hey, Chick-fil-A level service. Like everybody knows what that means, right? Like everyone's been to Chick-fil-A, or you could say In-N-Out level service. That's what we say. So at Rebolt, now we say that because of you guys actually. So we have 3 core values, which is In-N-Out level service, Kobe Bryant work ethic, Steve Jobs focus. And the idea is like, if we service our customers to an In-N-Out level, it's like they have an incredible experience. If we work hard like Kobe did, Kobe wasn't the most gifted, but he worked hard. And then if you just have focus, like, mama mentality. And if you have focus like Steve Jobs. But
what's cool about, not to interrupt, but like what's cool about your core values or just core values in general is like you got to make them real specific like that. Like, because you could just say focus. Yeah. But when you add in Steve Jobs level of focus, it just changed it a little bit. You know what I mean? And most people, when they're thinking about their core values, they'll be like, oh, integrity, honesty. It's like you can't have like basic shit like that.
Exactly. And I think like humans more generally, like we connect to people and we connect to storylines. And when you add those like Steve Jobs and whatever, like you can connect to that. But it's interesting because like, okay, you guys are at $200,000 of revenue, right? At that point in time. And you guys simply, you're at 200K, but you're still going out and you're getting involved in these different like organizations and learning and whatever, right? And just a simple move of like, okay, hey, we're going to say like Chick-fil-A level service can help our technicians actually in these homes, right? I think that that's really powerful. And I also think that for home service business owners, like you guys are at 200K and a lot of our viewers will be between 200 to $1 million, right? And they need to go out and kind of get in these organizations, places, whatever. This is a little side question. Like if you're an owner at like a couple 100,000 of revenue, how do you go get involved in these sort of things? Like, how did you guys find EO? You had mentioned it, but like, what would you recommend to them?
There's a few different ones like EO I would recommend,
Yep.
or join like nowadays like school and communities and these info products are like really popular. I'd highly recommend go get involved with like your niche specific
Yeah.
like community and learn, like, because what's cool about these things is like you have so many people that are building the same business as you, right? Especially if you're in home service, like you're not really inventing the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start to talk to more people who are doing the same things as you at different stages, people are trying all different types of stuff.
Yeah.
And when you try so many different things, sometimes those things work.
Yeah.
And so if you can be in a position and position yourself in a community, in a space where people are actively sharing these things,
Yeah.
you're gonna be able to grow a lot faster.
Yep.
Not only that, but even outside of the industry. And what was cool about EO was like we were talking to people who were in like just the most random industries, and we were hearing about what they were doing. And when you hear about what people are doing in other industries, sometimes that's not like a best practice in your industry, or people aren't doing that. And you can take a lot of things from these different industries and implement them into your business to make it better and grow faster.
Yeah.
So I would recommend EO, Accelerator, these low ticket communities. And then we were heavily involved with like local networking groups too.
Mm-hmm.
That was more so for lead generation, but still very helpful. So like get involved with your local chamber, go check out like a BNI or a LATIP. Those provided tons of leads for us, and we met a ton of people through those networking groups that provided a lot of value to us.
So, and today it's easier than ever, right? Like these guys can just scroll Instagram and find people selling like info products in their space or whatever it is, but just getting out and involved in these different communities and surrounding themselves with business owners that are going through the same trials and tribulations. Because like you guys were looking at people like a couple steps ahead, right? So they should surround themselves with those sort of folks and kind of do that same thing. So you said like 2019 was what, 40K or something like
42.
42? And then 2020 was 200. It's a big jump.
205.
205, okay. And that was primarily to like word of mouth, these partnerships, that sort of thing. And then what was the next year after that?
The next year we jumped up to, that's when we started hitting those $65,000-$70,000 months.
Yeah.
700.
And what was the big unlock going from like, where you guys were at to getting like these 65, 70K months?
Well, we put together, and if I'm missing anything, just jump in. But we started advertising on Yelp in 2020.
Okay.
And so after COVID, like during COVID, I think everybody was scared to spend money.
Yeah.
And we just cranked up the budget on
Yeah.
Yelp, and we just started getting stupid amounts of leads.
Yeah.
And with window cleaning specifically, it's seasonal. So your hot times are going to be April to, I would say, about October. And then November, December through the rest of that season starts to really slow down. And so we're like, okay, well, we need to like mitigate against the slow season. So what can we do in the slow season? We added Christmas lights. We added on different services as well. Like basically the stack in window cleaning is you start with window cleaning, you add on power washing or house washing.
Yep.
And then you do the gutters.
Yep.
And then Christmas lights and the slow times.
Yeah.
And so we did those 4 things. Yeah. So we were able to start, one, increasing our average order value.
Yeah.
We could start upselling things like gutter cleaning, house washing, power washing. And then we would take the customers that we already spent money to acquire. Then we remarket them Christmas lights. Christmas lights is very high ticket because you custom make the lights.
Yeah.
And so our average ticket at Christmas lights was like $1,000.
Yeah.
And so you don't make too much money on those customers year 1, but year 2 when they come back.
Yeah.
That's when you make a ton of profit. And so we started adding on these services, increasing our average order values out of the Christmas lights, and then just kept spending and spending. And by that point, we had a decent book of business. We had people calling us back for recurring. And that could have been optimized too. Like we were doing so many things wrong that year, but it was really just doubling down on like, hey, one channel, let's focus on this one channel and start to add more trucks. So we were buying more trucks, wrapping the trucks, buying more equipment so we could scale. But really, it just was it was really just a compound effect of like, okay, we added on the services, we got good at the service we provided.
Yeah.
We had a decent team together.
Yeah.
But really, the catalyst to the growth was just doing the same thing over and over again, and that same thing was just getting good reviews. That was it.
Reviews.
And eventually, like, dude, if you Google window cleaning Orange County right now, I don't care when you're watching this podcast, I promise you, Orange window cleaning will show up number 1 on the map pack with the most reviews. And on the first page of Google, it might be the first result, it might be the second result, but it's always 1 or 2.
Exactly.
And we didn't realize that, but that was just the gift that to this day keeps on giving, because it's free real estate on the internet. We don't even have to advertise for that business anymore, because we're just, anytime somebody searches up window cleaning in Orange County, Guess who's showing up? Who do you think they're going to call?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to call the company with the best reputation.
I can't say it enough, man. The reviews is the name of the game. And I was looking at your guys' Google business profile before this. There's 358 reviews, which is absolutely awesome. There's no way that you don't dominate geography with that level of reviews. And let's talk about that a little bit. Like, at what point actually did you guys introduce the website for the business? And then maybe talk a little bit about like the repeatability of getting reviews. Like, when you went to the job site, what was it that you were saying, doing to get the homeowner to leave you a review? Because it is a difficult thing at times, right? Like, we have guys who say like, oh, I gave my review to the homeowner and they didn't end up leaving it. So like, when did you introduce the website? And then reviews wise, how did you get homeowners to actually like leave you that review?
Yeah. Well, the website we did the first year.
Okay.
First or second year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, these days, if you don't have a website, like, I mean, we're on the Rebolt.
Yeah.
Straight up, but like, seriously, like, that is like your online business card.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
the first website was like a WordPress thing that we threw together.
Mhm.
You know, like, we kind of like made it. Our SEO really jumped up when we started working with like a website company that knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Rebolt, similar thing.
Yep.
Like, dude, don't waste your time trying to like make your own. I'm not trying to make this commercial, but
The link in the description. Yeah.
well, but that did have a big effect
Yeah.
on our SEO. But in terms of getting reviews, like Johnny was saying earlier, dude, just good customer experience.
Mhm.
That's like the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is reminding people. So we were at the time using Nice Job. That's like a automated review getting platform that will continually text and email your customers after the job. Because a lot of people, they like your service and they say, oh, I'll leave you a review, but then they forget. They get busy. Life happens. And so I think a lot of times as business owners, we feel like we don't want to pester people. We don't want to bug them. But like the reality is quick little text.
Mhm.
It's not going to hurt anybody.
Mhm.
So I think that was like a big thing for us too.
To add to that, yeah. Like if somebody tells you they're going to do something and they don't do it, you have every right to follow up until they do it. And that's like what most people like just don't realize, or like they're scared, they don't want to bug someone. But especially like our clients that we manage to this day, I would tell them like, if somebody says, hey, yeah, I'll leave the review, and they're not doing it, literally follow up with them until the end of time. And that's what we would do. Like if somebody said, like, gave us the verbal in person or over the phone that they're gonna leave a review and they didn't, dude, I'm texting them every day until I see that review pop up on either Yelp or Google Business Profile or somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And so the process was like, you have the technician ask for it, then they get the follow-up reminder via text and email,
Mm-hmm.
and then they get the follow-up call from the admin person saying, hey, and would you mind leaving us a review? So you have all these different touch points on top of the like 4-step sequences on text and email to remind for the review.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that is exactly so. Nice Job does a great job of this. No pun intended, but like that's what the product is built for. And you're absolutely right in that, like, following up to get the review. The other thing, I actually heard this from a business owner the other day. What he does is at the end of a job, assuming the customer's happy, he will tell that customer, hey, they will, or he'll tell the customer, he'll say, hey, I will real quick rinse your dumpsters. I see they're a little dirty right now, but you got to leave me a review. And that quick little, like, just like action that takes like 2 minutes or 3 minutes at the end of the job has the impact of getting a review left for them is huge, right? Because that review in comparison to what it took to actually wash the dumpster is like a no-brainer. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
One more thing too. I think it'd be helpful for everyone to know.
Yeah.
There's a term I recently learned like a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And it just has me thinking different about marketing, and reviews tie into this. But like as a home service business owner, if you're running ads and you're getting clients, like you should always be thinking about your marketing collateral. Reviews is one of those things, right? Because you're not gonna, let's say, you're not gonna convert every customer to recurring, right? You're not even gonna close every customer. You might get customers who ask for a discount. I want something in return for every single person that does the job with me, especially if you're in a more of like a let's say like a roofing company or like something where it's not that much recurring, or in case a long period of time in between service. There's 3 things I'm looking for. I want a review or a testimonial. Like testimonials inside local Facebook groups or Nextdoor do wonders because you get the social cred of like a neighbor using your service. And so I want that. I want or if not both, an introduction to a friend or family member or multiple introductions. I like to say introduction instead of referral. It just sounds better when you're asking.
Yeah.
But hey, do you know anybody else that might need our service? Right. Asking for introductions.
Yep.
And then most importantly is obviously recurring, right?
Yeah.
More business.
Yep.
But if you think about those three things, like people just give up if they're like, say house cleaning as an example. Oh my God, I didn't convert to recurring. Well, you can still get a review and you can still get an introduction.
Yeah.
Right. So you can still turn one customer to 2, 3, 4 customers.
Yeah.
As long as you build a process around it and are always asking for those things. So you're always at least getting something for that marketing spend.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I love that.
Yeah.
So reviews, you said testimonial.
Reviews/testimonial. Yeah. And that
the second one was
introductions.
Referrals. Yep.
And then pay you more money for more services.
Oh, recurring. Yep, that's right. The interesting one that caught my eye was like the homeowner leaving a review in a Facebook group. I haven't seen that done like a lot. At least like I don't see that directly. That's probably a big unlock, right? If like a homeowner, you do a job.
Arwin,
Yeah.
we're gonna put you on some game here, brother.
Dude, yeah. No, we didn't.
We don't leverage. Okay, so for context, we don't do a lot with Rebolt at like Facebook groups. I know there are some folks on Twitter that do like Facebook group stuff. I know that there are a lot of leads in Facebook groups that folks could be getting, but I haven't like put us on.
Well, we call it the grand opening method.
Okay.
So it's a way to utilize local groups, whether it's like local Facebook groups or next door, if you're familiar, right? And it's like the neighbor effect, right? Like you trust what your neighbors are saying, what they're like, what services they're using, and so you tap into that by one making posts and like being just like someone in the community, like they recognize you, and then two, like Johnny was saying, when you get someone to leave a testimonial for you, especially like if they take a picture of you doing the service, like it's so much like credibility in that one post that people just want to use you. And so like we've had people post a testimonial and get us over $1,000 worth of work from that one post for completely free.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then especially if there's 3, 4, 5 different posts in one group.
Yeah.
Whenever someone searches up window cleaning in that group, you're gonna pop up, and like they're just gonna see you as the window cleaner in that city, like to that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And that's actually interesting because
on top of that, one more thing to add too, like, after you do the grand opening method, the goal is to trigger what we call the keeping up with the Joneses effect.
oh, okay.
Because what happens when you have so many testimonials starting to layer in, people are seeing the company all the time. And even if they don't, let's say you do house cleaning, like you might not need a house cleaner right now, or you might be happy with your current provider, let's say, right? But if you're an active member of this group and you know, let's use Orange County as an example, you've got the Yorba Linda Buzz, the Orange Buzz, the Anaheim Buzz, Newport Beach Buzz, like you have all these buzz pages. That's like the thing here. And each group has like 20, 30, 40,000 people inside these groups where people are scrolling this every day, right? And so let's say you're unhappy with your provider or you're just into the market and you just now need a house cleaner. Who are you going to go with?
100%.
You're going to go with the company you're seeing all your neighbors spamming all the time in this group.
Yep.
And you can ask your customers to do this if they've already left you, say, a Google review or a Yelp review or whatever channel you're trying to optimize for.
Yeah.
And you can just start to turn this into a systemized thing. And there's months, dude, we're ripping tens of thousands of dollars off of these Facebook groups completely for free. We're not paying any customer acquisition cost.
Wow. That is awesome. The other thing too is with Facebook, you need a Facebook account, but it's actually more common that I've seen like it's probably easier for the homeowner to go into a Facebook group. Like you could give them the link to the group and they could leave that video review, whatever. Whereas like with Google kind of makes it difficult at times to leave reviews, right? The homeowner has to sign into an account, sometimes do like 2-step verification. Not always do they know their password. More likely than not with Facebook, they know their password. That said, I would say like, and you guys, it sounds like you guys got reviews across all these different platforms, right? So like Yelp, Facebook, Google, there's nothing that you left unturned.
Yeah, like if you go to our Yelp page, I think we have more reviews on Yelp than we probably do on Google.
Really?
Or they're similar. We have like, if you go to the not recommended and total all the actual reviews we got, probably like in the 400s on just Yelp. But the rule of thumb is just like, whatever platform they found you on, just ask for the review there.
Yep.
Because they're already signed in and using it. So if we got a Yelp lead, we're asking for it on Yelp. If we got them from Google, we ask on Google. And then if we get both, let's say, then we're like, all right, hey, go to Facebook and leave it there.
Yeah.
And especially if we got it from a Facebook group, we want that cycle to keep going.
Yeah. So I want to back up a little bit and talk about, so like revenue wise, you're at, let's say like 500K, and this is like 3 years ish into the business. Is that fair to say? 4 years?
Yeah.
How many guys did you have on staff at that time? How many trucks were you running? Tell us a little bit about that.
At peak, we were at 3. So we had 2 trucks and a van.
Yep.
And at peak during summer of 2021, we were probably at like, we had like 2 university jobs going at the same time, plus the 3rd truck doing all of our residential. Plus, even some days we were having subcontractors go out for a 4th like truck to service more residential.
Nice.
So I think at peak we were at like what 8, 9 W2s, something like that.
Yeah, about 8.
Yeah.
Wow. So 8 folks and then like 3-ish trucks, it sounds like.
Yeah.
3 to 4 trucks. And then what like software were you using at that point in the business? So you're at like whatever 500 to 700K. You guys on the front end marketing wise are like Yelp, word of mouth, all that good stuff. Were you guys using anything on the back end?
Yeah, House Call Pro.
House Call Pro.
That's what we got on. Yeah,
Nice.
like probably like maybe like towards the end of year 1 or like year 2-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were on spreadsheets before, and then we found House Call Pro through like someone on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did that like was that how much of an ROI did that have for you guys in using it?
Huge, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
saving time.
the time, like the little features, like the little button that says click when you're on your way, and then it automatically sends a text message to the customer, like the little things like that add up to a good customer experience. Just like knowing like little details about the customer, even though you have to talk to them to a year, that information is sitting in your CRM, like the little stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. We didn't ask this, but like, how did you guys actually divide roles? From what we've gathered, like, so 2 of you guys, it was sounds like more marketing, kind of sales,
Exactly.
more
Yeah,
operations.
he was sales marketing. I was more operations, like make sure we get the jobs done right, make sure like we got the technicians, like all their equipment, like
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Still to this day, that's how we divide it.
Yeah. What's home service academy? So I'm curious. We've been talking about a lot of like what worked. Tell us like what didn't work, and maybe you have like a good story around this, or like whatever, like what didn't work, or when did things break? When did things start to break, and you kind of had to like fix problems, if you will? I'm sure it's all the time.
Oh, when we would hire people just to have a body so we could get more work. It does not serve the business, and it's a lesson you learn the hard way.
Yeah, it hurts to say no to work, especially like, yeah, those early days, man.
Yeah.
Like, and so there was a point where we had like 5, 6 technicians, and most of them were that type of avatar where it was like, and this guy's like maybe like a 4 or 5 out of 10, but he's like a body and he's good enough. And so there came a point where we ended up losing 3 or 4 guys in the span of like a week, and we had a full like 2 to 3 trucks worth of work, me, Johnny, and then our friend Jacob, who was one of our technicians, and we had to do all of it like ourselves. Like we weren't going to cancel jobs.
Yeah.
So we were out there from like 7 a.m. to like 9 p.m. Like,
Yeah.
it was like the craziest day of work. But
2 guys on one truck, one guy's solo. You finish up early, you go meet the other guys, help them finish faster, split up again. Like,
dude, I've never moved that fast in my life.
Right.
I didn't eat anything till like 8 p.m. Like, it's crazy.
And sorry, why did you lose the 3 guys?
Couple we fired.
Okay.
Like, I mean, horror stories. Like, one dude was like doing freaking drugs in a customer's home.
he's ordering coke in the bathroom.
Literally.
Daughters.
Okay.
Yeah, they found like the residue in the restroom. So that was like probably the worst thing that could have happened. But then some of them quit.
Yeah. But people, this is a people game, and I don't think like enough home service business owners understand that. Like it is truly like it is a service, and we're providing these service to people, and there are people facilitating that service.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the toughest part for you guys was the people at some points, and then just being low on labor. And we hear this all the time. Like guys are like, I can't find people to work, especially in the SMB space, in the small business. Like it's really tough for these guys to get labor.
See, what's not going to serve you though, is like thinking there's no good technicians, there's no good people to hire. Because the reality is they're out there. They're just working for the best companies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The best culture with the best pay, with all those things. And so you have to figure out, what am I not doing? What do I have to do to attract that type of talent?
Yeah.
Or build that type of talent? Because like, especially in like window cleaning, you don't need to be skilled. Like you can teach someone all the things in a couple days, in a week.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just finding good people.
Yeah.
On top of that too, most people just don't do the volume that you need to do in the hiring process. Like sometimes you need to interview 20, 30 people to find that one good guy, and people just aren't doing that. They rather just sit there and say, oh, there's no good people.
Yeah.
You're just going to stay stuck. Like, I don't want to do the hard work. Like, yeah, dude, of course, if you interview one guy and you hire that guy and he's dog shit, like, well, yeah, that's your fault. Like, you interviewed one person. And I'm saying this because that's what we would do. We would take the only guy that showed up out of like 10 people that were supposed to show up. Like, well, you showed up, dude, so here's the recent job. You know what I mean? And it's like, you just can't do that. And like, hiring is so important. Like, home service businesses are 100% staffing businesses. Like, if you just do a good job at the hiring portion, you solve 80% of the problems. And like, the lesson that we really learned last year was know what business you're in. Like running Home Service Academy, where it's, coaching one-on-one, heavy on digital marketing. We're in a marketing-based business, right? Home service, you're in a hiring business. And if you just do a good job, you solve 80% of your problems, because your customers are going to leave you more reviews. They're going to give you more introductions because they're having a great service. They're going to want to book more recurring with you.
Yeah.
And that eases up the rest of the business. Now you don't have to spend as much to acquire as many customers. You have more repeatability. You're getting more introductions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're building the reputation that much faster.
What worked in terms of like finding the right people? Like what platforms did you go to? It sounded like Indeed was one of them. Did you rely on word of mouth? Like when you think about like your best techs, where did they come from?
It was almost always word of mouth. We would always ask them, like, who do you know? Because typically our best techs would know other good people that wanted to work, especially our boy Victor, who ended up buying our business. But
Yeah.
he would always like be like, oh, I know this guy, and we ended up getting a really good dude from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so you guys got all this way. You're at 6 figures of revenue. You're at like $700,000 of revenue. Now let's talk a little bit about like the exit. And this is something that like a lot of home service business owners, they strive to get to. Tell us about that process. At what point did you guys feel was the right time? Just like walk us through that journey.
Well, we were a little bit of a unique case, like more of an unorthodox exit than probably most people will hear, because what happened was in window cleaning, like you're paying workers, and we're W-2s, so workers comp, payroll tax, like it was just eating our margins. In order to grow our revenue, we had to buy another truck, and we started with $150. And at the time, we're like, what, 21, 22? We're not getting lines of credit, dude. Nobody's gonna finance like at great terms on vehicles. So we're just dumping all this cash back into the business for growth, right?
Yeah.
But in house cleaning, the contractor availability is insane. Anybody can go to Home Depot and pick up some cleaning supplies and go clean a house. So problem with that was we didn't have the expertise or know-how in cleaning. So it would be a little bit on the unethical side to be like, hey, let me teach you how to do a house cleaning business, even though we built a window cleaning business. And at the time, my mom, who raised me on her own, was driving Uber, and we were making decent money with the window cleaning business. But it wasn't to the point where I'm like, hey, mom, here's like $5,000 a month. Go retire. Don't work Uber. Like, she's busting her ass, dude. I'm talking like 7 days a week, like sun up to sundown. Not your normal 40 hours.
Yeah.
Orange County's expensive, dude. And so I'm like, we can knock out two birds with one stone. We can, one, sell a product using $100 million offers book to my following, because people were just like foaming at the mouth for me to sell them something. And then on the flip side, retire my mom from Uber. So we took out a new Amex Gold, and we started a business called Mary and a Mop. My mom's name is Mary. And I said, all right, mom, just trust me. Don't drive Uber this month. We're going to replace your income. And I called my shot on Twitter. We're going to replace my mom's income by launching this new remote cleaning business. Watch, I'm going to prove it again.
Yeah.
And put $2,000 of ad spend on the Amex Gold card onto Yelp, hired the cleaners, set up the website, booking call, etc. And we did $12,000 of revenue our first month with $4,000 of profit, and then 20 the next month with $8,000 of profit. And that January of 2022 was the last time she ever touched a steering wheel for Uber. And that business just had her first $50,000 month at like 45% net profit margins.
Wow.
So she's making more money than she's ever made in her life not driving Uber anymore. And people were like, holy crap, this works. And then we launched Home Service Academy.
Yeah.
Which is how one-on-one coaching for how to build a remote cleaning business. And at the time, nobody was really doing. I think nobody's calling it remote cleaning. Like we called it remote cleaning. And we pre-sold, like Sergio built the product in a weekend. I pre-sold it for 2 weeks, and we ended up collecting $50,000 of cash in 2 weeks for a product that didn't even exist yet. Wow. And we were like, holy shit, dude, like pure profit, bro. And so we're like, you know how much money we would have to, or how much windows we would have to clean to be able to make that much profit? And so we're seeing freaking dollar signs, right? And so we launch, and for the next 3 months, our whole goal with those 15 people we pre-sold was just get results.
Yeah.
We ended up getting really good results for them. And so month 4, we didn't really touch that money. We just deployed it all into Home Service Academy to hire videographers, make more content on platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, turned on paid ads, started hiring a sales team. And so just immediately just blitz scaling. And, that business took off. We went 0 to 2.8 million in 9 months with 1.5 million of profit. And the window cleaning was just like just complete distraction, at least to us at the time. Like I have a much different opinion now, but at the time we're like, dude, let's just get rid of the business. Like let's sell it. Let's just sell it. And so we sold it to Victor, a little over $100,000.
Yeah.
We probably could have got, I would say, 300 for it if we actually properly took it to market.
Sure.
But we were just trying to fire sale it because we were like, dude, we were making so much money off this new thing. And we didn't really, at the time we were like, we shouldn't really care about the window cleaning business anymore. We wanted someone else to take care of it because it was just getting neglected.
Yeah. Wow. So this turned from, hey, we have we're grinding on these window cleaning jobs, to let's try a contractor model. Let's get some window cleaners out there for us. We don't have to take on that risk and eat into our margins, to, wow, we can do a contractor model, to now do this with cleaning businesses. And then we can also coach others to do this sort of stuff. And then within how long was the time frame of hey, we're going to window cleaning contractors to 2.8 million? I mean, it had to have been no longer than a year, or
Yes, 9 months. 2022 was just an insane run up, and we sold the business in June. I want to say it was June. It was the day we started. So we started the business June 17th, 2017, and the business was sold, I want to say June 17th, 2022. It was the same time. I remember it was kind of crazy timing.
Wow.
It might not be the same exact date, but it was in June. And I remember because we were in Tulum and we were doing this we're going to go on this travel spree. Oh, let's travel and work.
Yeah.
Don't recommend it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I remember, yeah. And so by that point, yeah, it just was crazy. We were doing
So in 5 years, you guys went from getting paid donuts to clean windows to making millions of dollars.
Well, when you put it like that, I guess. But
I mean, you guys did, seriously.
But I mean, yeah, you put it like that, but I mean, it was a fucking grind, dude.
It was a grind.
Yeah.
It was a grind.
Still is a grind.
It still is a grind. And I don't want to discount the fact that there's so much in the overnight success that people don't see. What you guys have been through, trials and tribulations wise, has to be absolutely crazy. That is super interesting. All right. I've got to ask, give us what is one thing that each of you would have done differently in this entire journey? You guys might have differing opinions, but where was an inflection point that you were like, dang, we should have done something else?
Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Go for it.
Okay. I'll give you 2 answers. I'll give you one tactical, nitty gritty in the business that could have made us a lot more money, and then just higher level decisions as the other one. The first one is we would just spend our way to $40,000-$50,000 a month, and we didn't really give a shit about remarketing to our other customers. So we didn't have the proper email flows. We didn't have offers timed to holidays. We didn't have a lot of text sequence for follow up to rebook jobs, and so we left so much money on the table not remarketing and rebooking and putting people on service plans in the window cleaning that we already spent money to acquire those customers. It was stupid for us to not remarket to them and get those people to rebook, because they already took out their credit card and paid us. So if that's true, then obviously if someone's already spent $1 with you, they're going to be more likely to spend another $1 with you, especially if they're happy. And so we just did no remarketing to past customers for a long time, left a lot of money on the table there.
To that point, I remember one time sending out one email. That was the whole remarketing campaign. and it booked like 3 jobs just randomly. And
Yeah.
I just remember like that was okay. And never did it again.
Yeah. Wow.
And then the other one I would say is I do think about what Orange Window Cleaning would be like if we kept it, because there's just so much that we learned through Home Service Academy and starting that business. Like I feel like it just put like gasoline on the fire as far as our skill sets go, especially in marketing and sales. If we would have kept the window cleaning business, I just wonder where it would be at right now. Because the thing is different. Like, and me saying like, oh, HSA took off. It sounds like the class store, like, oh, you make more money selling courses or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want it to sound like it was, sunshines and rainbows, because it kind of was in 2022. But after that, what we didn't realize was starting in info and coaching and doing this one-on-one online service business, you're competing against the best marketers in the world, right? And so you got to be
Literally.
really good at marketing and sales if you want to compete. So it's a very easy business to start, but it's a very hard business to maintain, which is why you see gurus and these people switch to other offers and sell different things all the time, because you've got like most offers, I will say, not companies but offers, have like a lifeline. Typically it's 2 years before people start to burn out.
Yeah.
And so to build the infrastructure and make it sustainable and repeatable is a very hard thing to do in the space, which we didn't know. We thought, oh, fuck, we're just gonna make all this money all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that punched us in the face. But like on the other hand, in home service, it was a very hard business to start, where we got to buy our first truck, and we got to wrap the truck, and we got to buy the equipment, and we got to hire people, then we got to get the second one. You know what I mean? And so like I said, all that cash was just coming out of the account.
Yeah.
But once we got to a certain point, it got easier and easier and easier.
Yep.
Whereas this business, it's harder and harder and harder.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is.
And so, yeah, the other answer would be just like, hey, like I wonder what would happen if we would have kept Orange. I wonder where it would be at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Anything to add?
Dude, I hate that. That's probably my answer too.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest.
Yeah.
Right. Because I know today, knowing what we know now, we could easily scale the window cleaning business to like 10 million a year. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what is we've talked a lot about like tips, tricks, things that a home service business owner should do to grow their business, and like the people and the ads and reviews and all that. But if you were to leave them with one piece of advice, I'm a home service business owner at a couple $100,000 in revenue. There's one thing that you could tell them right now. What would it be?
Build a reputation. Yeah. It all comes back to that, because when you build a reputation, you're gonna get more jobs just naturally, and then people are willing to pay you more money. Like, you don't really know until it happens to you. Like in the beginning, you're fighting for your life on every sales call. Like they're haggling you down. But like when you have 100 reviews, you can say any number, and they're like, "I picked you. Like, let's do it." You know what I mean? And so, dude, it changes your business so much when you have 100 reviews or just have a reputation online. And so, yeah, that'll get you to the next level.
Love it.
I was just gonna say the same exact thing. Like, it might feel, especially if you're early on, it might feel pointless at the time.
Yeah.
It's not something like, when it happens, you can really feel it.
Yeah.
But if you just focus on building a great reputation, everything else will fall into place. That and hiring good people. Like home service is a very simple business.
Yeah.
You want to get, $2 million and beyond, it's hire good people and get reviews.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
As long as you hire great people, it makes the reviews a whole hell of a lot easier right there in the first place.
Yeah.
Reviews will build that reputation, and eventually you're going to be the go-to company, as long as you just rinse and repeat it over a long enough time horizon.
Yeah.
And build a really good process for building that reputation.
Yeah.
You're going to build a big business.
That's the big unlock.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Where can we find you guys online? So now you guys are running, obviously, the Home Service Academy, the top coaches in the remote cleaning base, crushing it. How do folks find y'all and get interested in Home Service Academy too?
Yeah, YouTube, Johnny and Sergio, and then personal Instagrams, Sergio Selesky.
Johnny, the CEO.
Yep.
My Instagram, Squeegee God on Twitter X.
Yep.
But the biggest one, like we put the most time and attention to, is our YouTube. So Johnny and Sergio, if you want like really tactical advice on how to grow specifically a cleaning company, but the principles apply to any home service. And then we post a lot about like different boring businesses you can start and ideas like that.
Yeah. The two home service goats. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, yeah, I was gonna say on the website, homeserviceacademy.co.
Homeserviceacademy.co. All right, fellas, we really appreciate this. This is episode 1 of the Rebolt Rundown.
What an honor.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. One day this will go down in history.
Let's go do it. We're super excited, man. We're honored for you having us.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this and you don't have a Rebolt site, it will outperform your current site. I promise. Link in the description. Get a freaking Rebolt site. It's the best product in the marketplace right now.
Appreciate it. All right, fellas, thank you so much.
Peace.
All right, guys, you've just heard how Johnny and Sergio built a 7-figure business on hustle, grit, and trial and error. But what if I told you there's a way to do all of that and more completely hands-off? That's where Rebolt comes in. We're the marketing arm for home service pros. We've built an all-in-one marketing platform tailored specifically for businesses like yours. We make everything simpler, faster, and more affordable than ever before. You focus on your trade and we'll handle the rest. So if you're ready to start getting more calls and become the default choice in your service area, go to rebolthq.com and see how we've helped over 1,000 home service businesses grow their brand. That being said, thanks for watching. Check us out on socials for more service business tips, and we'll see you next time.